guys! So we are on Psalm 33 this week, and it's a pretty psalm, you know. So I got to thinking that there could be lots of people that don't actually have watercolors, and every week I'm doing watercolor videos, right? So Lisa, catch a clue, right? Come on, Lisa. So I got to thinking, and you know, I think everybody could get these markers at like Walmart or Target, or I think just about anywhere. And they're just Crayola, like the kids markers, you know, the water ones, water-based Crayola markers. So I thought, well, let's try to do this week with the water-based Crayola markers. Now the page is done with the clear gesso. So you know that it's going to get me in trouble because I'm going to get frustrated. But my thought was that not everybody has absorbent ground either, right? So I feel like at the minimum you have to use the clear gesso, because otherwise it'll go through to the other side, and then I don't like that. I like each page to stay on its own page where I invited it. So let's just see what happens. So it's a layer of clear gesso, and then I just drew in my lips from this week's psalm doodle, and then I'm going to try to do it with these. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Let's go. Alrighty, so let us get started here. You know, I only use 3 colors on this little composition. I use the red, the pink, and the gray. I do have my water bucket out there, because what I'm going to do is use these markers as if they were watercolor markers. So I'm going to lay in the color, and then I'm just going to manipulate it with the water and spread it around, just as if, almost like I'm working with watercolors, or like this is a Tombow or some kind of a marker like that. I have to say right from the get-go that I am absolutely amazed at how well these markers are doing. They are outperforming my little tin of watercolors by 1,000%. You see how it's just laying down water. Laying down the color. There's no pilling. There's nothing coming up. They're just doing what I asked them to do, and I'm dumbfounded. So why am I laying in gray here? So a lot of times when you're working with like Copic markers or like regular water-based markers, you use gray as a foundation for shadow, and then you come back in again and add other colors on top of that. But that lays down a foundation straight away. So I've got my gray in, and I've got my top lip as red, and I'm putting pink on my bottom lip, because the top lip is always darker than the bottom lip. The bottom lip kind of grabs the light. You know, it's kind of out there and fleshy, and it grabs the light more than that top lip does. I want you to see here that one of the common mistakes I see with beginner drawings is that people overdo the lips. They outline them, the whole top lip they outline, and then they outline the whole bottom lip. You see how I went back in here and I got rid of the side lines? If you lay in your top lip strong, it's dark, and really lay in just like a little bit of that bottom lip with really accentuating that shadow underneath the bottom of the lip, that gives a more realistic appearance of a lip than when you outline the whole dang thing. Here, do you see how right there I have to get rid of that? That's because that marker is a very broad tip. So if you're not careful and you're going quick, you do get color where you don't want it. But because of that clear gesso, I can just scooch it back up again, and it doesn't matter. I saw here that the crests of the upper lip, they were just a little bit wonky, so I'm just kind of fixing that up. I know you're asking, why are those lines on there? Well, the lines are from the clear gesso. When I put the clear gesso down, I used a brush, and that's just a brush stroke there, and the gesso dried with that brush stroke in it. It doesn't bother me. It actually looks kind of cool. It looks like I did that on purpose. I'd like to say I did, but it's just the clear gesso's imprint from the brush. So here I'm adding in those words of praise that go up to the Father, and I'm doing them in both red and pink. I think it looks kind of cute when you use both markers together, and you kind of just keep doing that red and the pink back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, so that it's just a comprehensive composition, and you're kind of staying within the same color palette. So yeah, so I'm just adding in the hearts and those little circles there. I think next up, there we go. So I think that next up, we're actually going to start looking at writing. So when you're writing with these markers, practice on a scratch pad first, because they really are a very inexpensive means to get into calligraphy. Because you've got the top point, if you're using the marker on the tippity point, that's kind of like your upstroke. And then if you drag it down a little bit on the side, that becomes a broader line for your downstroke. So upline right up on top of it, and then downstroke, kind of drag it a little bit so it gets bigger. So here you'll see downstroke, and then the downstroke, you see how the downstroke is thicker? What I'm doing is I'm kind of dragging that tip a little bit. So, all right, so here we're gonna go on in, and we're just gonna do it. So here, you see I just put a piece of paper down underneath my hand, and what I did was I was treating them as watercolors in that I was using water to manipulate them around, but I was not respecting them as watercolors. So where my hand is now, you'll see when we come back later in full pan, that you'll see that some of it, see how some of it just is faded out because my hand, it wasn't dry and my hand picked up some of that, some of the marker. So we'll have to go back in and fix that up again, and it actually gets a little bit worse when I come back in with the colored pencil. So, so here I'm just getting in those words. Remember that always your downstrokes are the heavier, thicker lines, and your upstrokes are the thin lines. When I have lots of words, like I want to lay in here, the little words like on, the, and of, I've done little so that they don't take up a lot of space. They're just fillers, but you see the beautiful words of this psalm. This is the Passion Translation. I know a lot of people have asked me what translation it is, and it's much like the Message in that it's a beautiful read. It reads more like a story, and it reads, the verbiage in this translation is just beautiful. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. You will love it. You will love it. I use my Amplified for all of my studying, but I use this version, honestly, to just fall more in love with Jesus. It's just that beautiful. So I can't say enough good things about this translation. I love it. I got to hear him speak here in Charlotte, and he's just a great guy, and I just love it. So, all right, here we're putting in the shadow. You know, I always come back in on my letters and pop them a little bit. So I'm just putting in that line on the right side of each part of the letter. So if a letter has two parts, like an O, I'm going to put it on the both parts of it. So one, Lisa, do it. Oh, I made a liar out of me. Should have come back in and put another one. So there's one, and then there's the outside. I should have put it on the outside of the O's as well, but oh well. Lisa, Lisa, Lisa. So you'll see that I put something underneath my page. When you're writing in your Bible and you're kind of in a little bit, it's squishy now because I've got so many pages behind it on this side, on the left-hand side of the book. So just putting in something strong just gives me a nice surface to work on. So I just had these old folders that show some kind of oil paint. So I'm just using them and kind of sticking it back there and just using it as a hard surface to work on. So you see what happened. You see how my hand really did smooch it back up again. So lesson learned, you have to respect them. If you're using them as watercolors, you have to let them dry. So this is Lisa catching a clue right here and using the dryer before I move on. So now look at that. What am I doing? That dryer's on. Lisa, move the dryer. Lisa, 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 concentrate. There she is. So, so look there, coming back in. Just finishing up that those parts. So remember when you do your lips, I want to just leave you with these kind of parting thoughts. Top lip is always darker, always, always. That will right away make your drawing look more realistic. And try not to outline it so much. You know, try not to get that bottom lip completely outlined. Look at the doodle sheets and kind of look at there's 4 shapes that I use to get those lips done. And you can use those shapes to kind of get that luscious curve in there. So check out the praiseheart.net and get the doodle instruction sheets. And please, if you like what's going on here every week, please like and subscribe and share. Please share your videos so that we can get more people doing what we love to do. You know, this internal journey of daily Bible journaling and being in His Word, and then going out and using that internal conversation for an outer manifestation. Let's share it.